This is Jablam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojcicki and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojcicki. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I am with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, ZWAMBAG. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what's up?
Well, I hope we don't have too many problems with our Skype, because it seems like it's lagging, Paul.
Yeah, we're having big-time issues with Skype. This might be an interesting episode.
Yeah, it might be like my issues that I've been having for 2 weeks. Because, Paul, where'd you go? You went on, did you go, ice fishing or something?
I did. I went to the deep north of northern Ontario and went ice fishing and didn't cast a single line. I just went there to drink.
Just beer drinking, but what do you guys do? You guys go in an igloo, or how does it work?
One guy brought a hut, so it kind of looked like an igloo, but we usually just sit out in the middle of the ice and have a big fire around us. And 4 of the 11 guys that went this year cast a line and dug a hole and all that good stuff, and they caught 2 fish, so that's pretty good odds. Not bad.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And do you know how thick the ice surface is on top of the lake or whatever?
It was 12 to 13 inches where we were digging.
Wow.
Yeah. Caught some pretty good fish, 28-inch pike and a 22-inch pike, so
yes.
Not bad.
That's wicked. That's cool. How far did you go up north?
It was a 5-hour drive from where I am, so it was past almost to North Bay. So not super far north, but
So all the Southern Americans and all the other people listening, this is not normal for Canada. Paul, this is how many times have you ever been?
I've been twice, but my group of guys have been, it was their 6th year, so.
Wow, that's cool.
They go every year, every either family day weekend or just before March break, so yeah, they're making it an annual thing.
That's pretty cool. I've never even gone curling. I want to go curling too.
Oh, that's a great sport. So
while Paul was doing that, there was me getting all depressed and going, I was so excited about doing after our amazing, and I was so happy about our pre-trade deadline show. I was thinking about doing a trade episode as well, talking about trades, breaking them down, maybe getting some guests. So Paul told me that. He broke it down to me, and I was almost in tears. So I drank my tears and lots of beers. So that's why we were on our little hiatus for the last 2 weeks.
So we're back.
We are back, and what do we have this episode? We are going to have our top 10 trade deadline trades, winners and losers of this year. So we'll just have a few of them, and there will be a blog on our website in a few days. Also, we're going to team ISO the Coyotes, and we will do some fantasy up and down. But first, trending now. There's so many things, obviously, because we haven't talked about it, and there's even more things I want to talk about. But first, I think one I like to talk about is the NHL Board of Governors meeting. Paul, did you hear about it?
No, I have not heard much about the Board of Governors meeting. What's going on?
Well, first off, the rules they're thinking about changing. I kind of like this, and I kind of think that we've been waiting for this for a while, and it looks like they're going to try to not able coaches to have timeouts after icings.
Interesting.
So that's good. There's already too many. The thing is, it's peculiar to use them now, especially because coaches are using so many goal challenges, right? So they don't even use them that much anymore. But it's cool that you can't use it for an icing now. It's possible that they will, enable this rule that you can't do it. And it'll just be very important, especially late in the game. If you get an icing and your guys are tired out there, it's 1-2 minutes left, your team's down by 1, and that happens. So it'll be a huge factor in the games then.
Yeah, that would change quite a bit, I think.
So that'll be interesting. And then the other one, which to me they might have, rushed it when they implemented the bye-week format. I really think they rushed it totally because now everybody's upset. Everybody's in an uproar. They hate it. Teams are coming back. They're losing. The guys are on vacations while they're on it. It's kind of odd. And it's all so random. And the scheduling has been so poor with it, especially in effect. They didn't plan for it well. It totally seemed like it's been rushed. So it looks like they're going to be changing it to a 2-week format. So half the league on week 1, half the league on week 2. This at least makes some fair bit of sense, right?
Yeah, I could see that it could make more sense, but it's going to be a whole lot less hockey, I think, in those 2-week spans.
Yeah, it will be. But
and
I don't know.
What are they going to do? Like, a lot of fans play fantasy hockey, and that's going to shut down half the league, right? So
yes, for fantasy hockey, it will really hurt those 2 weeks. That's for sure. But if you're a smart guy at it, you might make a move for 2 weeks, right? And then you'll get a huge advantage over other guys if you do make those 2-3 tweaks for those 2 weeks, right?
Hopefully it's like in week 15, 16 of the fantasy league, because those are, you can lose 2 straight weeks. It's not a big deal. You just take the 2 losses and move on. But everybody's going to be in that boat, so
yeah, exactly.
It'll just be lower scoring weeks, really.
Yeah. Even Bettman was quoted saying, different than this year, we don't think it worked well. We're going to try and do it in 2 separate segments. We'll see if that works any better. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we know that it's worked pretty poorly so far. So hopefully it's somewhat better at least for next year with the 2 weeks way. And then, of course, they're not planning right now on going to the Olympics. So that's not looking good. They still could go, and I still think they might go. I don't know why. I'm still on the fence of them more going, even though it seems kind of bleak right now. But even guys like, I think it was Jakub Voracek, and he came out and he was totally pissed. I don't know. I forgot to get his quote out there, but he was really angry about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because I know a lot of the Europeans like to play for their team. Like, they leave their countries, they come to the NHL, and it's mainly Canadian Americans that are into the hockey over here. And yeah, it is followed in Europe, but these guys are huge stars when they play for their teams. Like, almost as much as the Canadians are, and I think they might even be more superstars when they do play for Sweden or Czech or Finland. So I think it matters more to the Europeans than it does for Team Canada, which is kind of crazy to say, because
it is crazy to say, but at the same time, you know what? These guys, even our Canadians and even the Americans, they wear their country on right on their heart. So I know when these Canadian guys are playing, it seems like they play even harder than they do even in the NHL playoffs for their country in those big games, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, but yeah, I think even Taze and those guys, they would totally miss out, and they would feel kind of crappy that they don't get to play for their country as well. You can even see McDavid. You could, like, during the last World Cup of hockey that we had, he knows he's a great player, and he wants to wear that maple leaf next time. He doesn't want to be, if there is a Team North America, he would have to play for that team again. He doesn't want to. He wants to play for Canada.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be a really big shame, because I still feel it's a bigger event and much bigger than especially even the World Cup of hockey. And everybody likes it. Even the players like going it to see their other Olympians, right? Too. So
yeah, and hanging out in the village with everybody. Yeah, it's a pretty neat atmosphere. It's a whole lot different than what these guys are used to. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then in Leaf Nation, and I'm upset. And Paul, you know, have you ever? When's the last time you've been to the ACC and seen a Leaf game?
And paid for it?
Yeah, I'll say that.
I don't know if I've ever paid for a Leaf ticket. I've watched a lot of Leaf games because I worked up in the press box, so
yeah,
I worked at the Jumbotron thing, so I got to see a lot of games, but no, not sitting in the stands. I haven't sat in the stands yet at the ACC. Kind of crazy to think.
I used to go a fair bit, and then they went, I think it was like about 6 years ago, they went and jumped the price a lot, and the team has been in the basement for so many years, and I haven't gone and paid. At least I've gone a few games. I won 1 or 2 tickets, and I've had friends that, obviously, we work in television, so I know a few people that work there, so I've gone a few tickets from them, And those are the games that I've gone to. I haven't paid for a ticket in 6 years.
Wow.
Now they've gone again and increased it for season tickets next year. A jump $7 to $16 per ticket.
So what's the range now? Like 100 to start?
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it. These are season ticket holders' tickets, and they've gone and said, and we are going to obviously put this all on our, what is it called, Paul?
Game notes?
Game notes. So we have all our team trending now. So we have our game notes are on there, and we have the article from Sportsnet, and basically they're saying that they're raising the pricing to, stop from scalpers making that percentage.
The scalpers are just going to raise even more money.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to stop the scalpers, in my opinion.
That's a terrible excuse.
Exactly. That's a PR move, and them coming out and saying that. No, get out of here. That's not the real reason. They're just saying that to not look so poorly in terms of, raising the prices that much.
Yeah, you know how they hurt scalpers? Is what the music concerts are now doing. You have to have a eligible MasterCard that you bought the tickets with to get into the stadium.
Yeah.
Like Adele did it with her tickets, that like you had to show your credit card that you bought your ticket with because she didn't want anybody scalping, and a lot of people were upset by it, but it helped the scalpers not sell tickets. So
something like that.
Yeah.
Not like this is obviously not the real reason, not at least the main factor in raising. It's just for raising the prices to make more money for the company.
And they know they can, and they'll still sell out every single playoff game. Yeah.
The suits and the companies are buying most tickets, and then of course those season ticket holders, and I feel bad for them, but hopefully they have enough coin to anteing up on these raising of the tickets.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's insane. I've lost interest in going and buying any of these tickets because they're way too much. I can't afford this. So that's the other big reason why I've always wanted to have, for since I was a young kid, to have a second team in this city, because it might help with lowering some of the tickets at least.
It might, or they'll just be $5 cheaper, and you'll think it's much cheaper.
Hey, $5 is still cheaper. So, all right, and then of course, it's that time of the season, Paul. Tis the season. For NHL teams to scavenge the top college hockey teams and take their best players. So, of course, everybody's interested in D-Man Bayreuther. I think that's how you pronounce the last name.
Yeah, Gavin Bayreuther, defenseman.
Yeah, so he's from St. Lawrence University. What are his stats, Paul? Do you know?
This year, 29 points in 30 games. He did have an injury. I think he's coming back from it. Year before, 29 points in 37 games. So he's had a pretty decent couple of years. He's been with St. Lawrence University for 4 years. So he's 6'1", 194 pounds. Not too big of a guy, but a good size on him.
But he's already 22, right? So he's been there for 4 years.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much NHL ready. I don't know. We'll see how he does. But it looks like a lot of teams are after him. The Stars, Sabres, Devils, Avs, even more. But these are just to name a few that are looking to maybe try to sign him. And then, of course, there's also top player Zach Ashton Reese from Northeastern. And what are his stats?
He is the leading scorer of the NCAA, 63 points in 38 games played. He actually tied for the lead with Tyler Kelleher from New Hampshire, but Kelleher played 2 extra games, so 1.66 points per game. Ashton Reese, that's impressive.
Wait, you said 88 games?
38 games.
Oh, 38. I thought you said 80. I'm like,
30.
Whoa. 30. Yeah. They have short seasons, so I was like, oh, me. Okay. Yeah. So, and of course, a lot of teams are looking at him as well.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Edmonton, Vancouver, San Jose, Los Angeles, Detroit. So he's basically the top guy coming out, and also already available. He got beat out by Boston U. Northeastern got beat out by Boston U this past weekend. So he's done his NCAA career, and he now needs a contract. So I have a feeling somebody will sign him to a NHL entry-level contract, but then sign him to an AHL tryout contract so he can go play in the AHL now without wasting a
for the playoffs.
entry-level
for
deal.
sure. Yeah.
So I don't think he'll be playing in the NHL this year.
Yeah, probably not. Especially if he obviously signs for one of those lower teams.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the top 10 trade at the deadline, winners and losers. Of course, I'm only going to talk about a few of them. And let's start with the Iginla trade. So Iginla goes from the Avalanche, and he wanted the trade. We were all expecting some of the big names of them to go, Landeskog or Duchesne, but none of them really did, except for Iginla. And, of course, this might be his last run. So I'm glad that he did get traded. So he goes to the Kings for a conditional 2018 fourth-round pick. So that could move up to, I believe, a second-round pick, depending how far and if the Kings make the playoffs. I really feel the Kings are still winners here no matter what happens. But is he that guy? Like in 2012, Jeff Carter, 2014, Marian Gaborik. Is he the 2017 Jarome Iginla for the Kings?
I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
I don't know. I think he could be. Do you know quickly, Paul, what his stats are so far?
No, I do not offhand, no.
See if you can get it quickly, because I do know he wasn't very good the first 1 or 2 games, and then the last 2 or 3 games or whatever, he's looked really good. But again, the only real problem here is, and if you check out this blog, this is going to be the blog on jablamhockey.com. The only real problem here is, can the Kings even make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're still out of the playoffs by like 5 points. And that's the big question mark here. I think if they can make it, Iginla will be a decent X factor for the Kings. Gaborik and these other guys have been horrendous this season. They have not been good. Even Kopitar. And if he's woken them up, wow, this totally changes their team again, just like Carter and Gaborik did those years. Iginla could be that X factor for them this year and be at least a top 5 scorer for them if they can get to the playoffs and have a good run.
And they really wanted to bring him in for the power play. And you wanted his stats, 2 goals in 4 games. Both of those goals power play goals. So,
and I believe they were maybe even in the same game where he scored the game-winning goal. I think it was not last game, but the game before. Because I don't know.
That is correct. They played Nashville, and he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, I was watching that game. It was a great game. Iginla was great. The line was clicking. So if they can keep it going, and then the other one, and it's going to be in the blog, is the Ben Bishop trade, and that's going to be in the blog. So go check it out. These are huge factors. I think Iginla. And I'm already said it. Like, these Kings are winners here in this trade, no matter what. But if they can make it, it will be a huge landslide win for them as well.
I really hope the Kings now make the playoffs. I didn't really have a say or a wager in it, but I really hope they make the playoffs just for Iginla's sake.
Yeah, for Iginla's sake, just for the impact that he can make, and even Ben Bishop's team, it'd be cool to see what happens. They get up there, they could upset the Wild. It's very possible. People aren't expecting the Wild to be a number 1 type contender role, but they are right now, right? And the Kings have that kind of history where they can upset almost anybody.
Yep, they won from the 8th spot when they won a couple years ago. So.
Yep, those comeback Game 7 wins from down 3-0, crazy. Let's move on. This is one of the ones, maybe not a huge trade, but I think an interesting trade. The Oilers acquired David Desharnais from the Canadiens for Brandon Davids. Why is it weird? It's because I think both were pretty good players on both teams, you would say, at least last year, but have fallen down the depth charts. Both teams, the Canadiens getting Luckinen and Shaw, these guys are all getting more prominent roles for the Habs, and even the Oilers acquiring Larson, Nurse coming back from injury. That's dropped Davidson down the depth charts. So I guess maybe they're both expendable for both teams. I don't know. It's just kind of odd. But in my opinion, it's more odd for the Habs because they've been lacking offense even more the last few days, actually, last few games. And Oilers, maybe Davidson's more of a bit of a two-way defenseman, and they might need him a bit more of a stronger defensive defenseman. So I'm going to give the slight edge to the Oilers because I think, they don't need Davidson that much of a player on the back end, but a little bit of depth offense would be nice behind the Oilers' McDavid, where they haven't been getting it that much that you would have expected them to from Eberle and Nugent Hopkins, at least for the playoff stretch, right?
Yeah, he's a good third line, fourth line center that can add depth scoring.
Yeah, so I'm giving a slight edge to the Oilers, and and Paul and even Brett will have their opinion as well on the blog. And then the third one that I want to talk about was the Wild trade, and I'm saying Wild because it was a pretty interesting, weird Wild trade. For the Wild acquiring Martin Hanzal, Ryan White, and a fourth-round pick in 2017. From the Coyotes, the young GM acquires a 2017 first-rounder, 2018 second-rounder, a conditional and fourth-round pick in 2019, and prospect Grayson Downing. It just seems like a lot huge assets that he's recouped for the Coyotes here. For rental players, they're totally rental players. They're all Hansel and White are expendable for them because they're not going to make the playoffs at all. So no matter what, it's a win of getting anything. But the Wild are acquiring Hansel and White, which are UFAs at the end of the year, and in my opinion, they're third line at best. White's tenacious, Hansel's big and solid depth at maybe center, but for contending teams, they're third line players at best, right, Paul?
Yeah, I can't see Martin Hansel cracking the top six for Minnesota.
No. So I don't know. There's no way I'm paying top picks for depth players, in my opinion. I don't know. But yeah, for me, it's a huge win for the Coyotes in that trade. And we'll have more in the top 10 in the blog that we'll drop in this week. Of course, from the other trades, Shattenkirk, Bishop, and Vanek, and the other ones. And again, some more analysis on them from myself and a little bit from Paul and Brett, winners and losers. We'll give them to you on jablamhockey.com. And check out, see what we picked there. Let's move on. Paul, do you have some up and down for us for fantasy?
Yeah, some people might be starting their fantasy hockey playoffs now. They might be week 2 into it. They might not be in the playoffs yet. So I'm going to give you a couple players that might help you either make the playoffs or win your week. Let's start with Sam Gagner from the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's center and right wing eligible, which is always helpful to fill in your rosters at this time of year. 30% owned, so he might not be available, but past 2 weeks, 7 games played, 7 points from Sam Gagner. A guy on the waiver wire that would be pretty awesome to pick up and get that. 29th overall in the past 2 weeks, so he's doing pretty good. Drew Stafford recently traded to the Boston Bruins. 4% owned, so he's pretty much available in any league that you're probably playing in. 6 games played, 5 points. He's looked really good for the Bruins, so maybe pick him up because he might just be on a hot streak and he might help you. Jean-Gabriel Pageau with the Ottawa Senators, 6% owned, 7 games played, 6 points. He's 37th ranked in the past 2 weeks. He's looking pretty good. A +6 as well, so that might help your plus-minus categories. Defenseman on the back end, Mark Streit was traded to Tampa, then to Pittsburgh. 6 games played, 61 ranking, 5 points. 3 of those are power play points. He's playing the, I would say, like 1.5 power play unit because I think Justin Schultz has been playing it and he's not playing the full minute and a half that the top line plays. He goes off pretty early and Streit comes out, so he's going to get you quite a bit of power play time. On the back end, Jonathan Bernier has looked ridiculously good for the Anaheim Ducks in the past 5 games. 4 wins in those 5 games. Only 9 goals allowed. 1 shutout. .945 save percentage. He's 22% owned, so you've got a good chance of picking him up. Anaheim has a back-to-back Friday, Saturday of this week. I would stream goalie. So pick up Bernier for one of those nights, whatever night he plays. Then check all the other Saturday, Sunday back-to-backs. There's 7 teams that have back-to-backs. Carolina, Columbus, Chicago, Colorado, Minnesota, Montreal, and Ottawa. And most of their backups are pretty much available. Maybe not Chicago's Darling, and maybe not, probably just Darling isn't available, or Eddie Lack in Carolina. So be wary of those teams. Maybe you can pick up a win or two there, and maybe they'll get a shutout. They'll have a pretty good game. So those are my ups and downs of the week, Peter.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, and let's get into a little bit of Team ISO. And this week we're doing the Arizona Coyotes. First off, the big one I want to talk about is, why wasn't Vrbata traded? Paul, do you know why maybe? I don't know. In my opinion, first off, before you have an answer for it, I think he acquired so much for Hansel. He was expecting a lot for Vrbata, maybe a first-round pick and a second for him. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's your angle on it?
That's where I was thinking that he got quite a bit for Hansel, so he was asking just that little bit more for Vrbata, and everybody was like, whoa, no, we didn't even think Wild should have been paying that for Hansel. So I think he set the market with Hansel, and everybody did not like the market, and I don't think he could have given him away for anything. So I think he just held on to him and said, you know what, this old man Vrbata can teach some of our young guys the stretch run of the end of the season. So
yeah, I'm guessing maybe got a second, so he didn't want to go. He got enough for that other trade. So the one thing I did want to look at was some of the guys that were left off, giveaways, cast-offs from other teams, and it's Holland and Burmistrov, and they have made a very little impact on the Coyotes, who have probably given them opportunities to be a top 6 player, but they haven't done it. So I guess they were fairly decent moves for, the Jets and the Leafs for just casting off Holland and Burmistrov.
And they even took in another cast-off, Timu Pulkkinen, who everybody just kept throwing on waivers, and everybody just kept claiming him. He went to Minnesota. He started in Detroit, and then I think he went back to Minnesota. He went to Carolina at one point. And he basically moved all over the country, and now he's in Arizona and not doing much.
Yeah, well, that was it's pretty recent. That was at the trade deadline, pretty much. So we'll see how long he's gonna go there. Even Josh Drewers, but he's been there for a while now. So it's still the kids' team, and we'll see what they're doing. But some of these kids are looking pretty good. Reader's up there; he's having a decent season. I'm surprised out of everybody, Dvorak is leading the team in plus-minus. He's a +4. The rest of the team is -1 or worse. I think there's what is OEL? Is he like minus 33,000 or something?
Minus 25, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, close to 3,000. So yeah, his plus-minus isn't the greatest. So he's still putting up offensive points, but yeah, it's tough. They're a low lead team down there at the basement. But the kids are looking pretty good. So tell us a little bit more about them, Paul.
A couple of the guys that have made the team, Jacob Chychrun has fit in pretty well. I didn't think he was going to make the roster at a training camp, but he's played 54 games and 17 points, which is not too bad for a 18, 19-year-old. Yeah. So Jacob Chychrun looks really good. Brendan Pierlini made the team out of camp, I believe. Mm-hmm. And he's looked pretty good. 42 games, 18 points. Not too bad.
Where was he drafted?
I don't have that offhand, Peter.
Okay. No, I was just wondering. I don't know him. Sorry, I don't know him that well, so that's why I was asking. He's one of the few guys that I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they drafted him, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then who else?
2014, first round, 12th overall. Should have known that.
Okay. All right. He's supposed to be a big player. Okay.
Yeah, and then some of the guys Christian Dvorak's another kid that I really like. I think he's going to be an outstanding forward for the Coyotes and grow with that team with Domi and a guy like Dylan Strome, who's
Austin Krause. How many? They've got a few of these London Knights in there, eh? Wow.
Oh yeah, they're a big fan of the London Knights and the Coyotes. Right. Well, maybe in the early regime. I don't know about Chaika if he's a London Knights guy. But London Knights, they breed great talent, so why not draft him? A guy that's not from the London Knights, Erie Otter, Dylan Strome, played 7 games with the Coyotes at the beginning of the season. He got sent down before the 9-game mark. He's got 72 points in 32 games, Peter.
Wow.
That's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing with Taylor Radish and Alex DeBrincat, and DeBrincat's having an unreal year.
DeBrincat's like insane.
Yeah, 3rd straight year of 50 goals, so good for DeBrincat. Another guy, Clayton Keller, he plays for Boston U in the NCAA. He's probably going to be going to the Frozen Four, so not likely going to make the Coyotes once he does come out of school. I have a feeling he's not going back to school next year. He's going to make the Coyotes team next year, 2017-18. So Clayton Keller's an outstanding prospect, so watch out for him. And you could really go on. I could just keep going and going with prospects. They have a huge cupboard of prospects. So I'm going to end there, Peter.
They sure do, and they pick up some more. Perfect. But so we all expect Coyotes not to be good this year. They are exactly where we expected them, second last in their conference. And it doesn't look they're going to go up or down either way. The Avs are way down with 41 disgusting points there at the bottom. Coyotes have 56, and the next best is up there at 62 at the Devils. So it doesn't look like the Coyotes are going to even catch them. So who would you expect maybe the Coyotes drafting this year if they do get that second overall pick, Paul?
If they get second overall, they're going Hischier.
Like we all know who's
Nico Hischier,
for sure.
Well, it depends. There's a lot of guys that have Hischier as number 1. So if they can fall into
Patrick,
that would be unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. All right. You know what? It's looking up for the Coyotes. We don't know what arena they might be playing in. There's still question marks just about the arena with that whole aspect. I will be going to the Coyotes, and I'll give my 2 cents. I'm going to be going there in the end of the season, the last game. Check that out. And see the arena up in Glendale, which looks like it might not be there in the future, playing there. And they want to move the team. They don't know where. They're losing everything. And it doesn't look like Bettman, the way he's setting it up in the email that he sent to everybody last week at the Board of Governors, it doesn't seem like he wants to keep the team there. So a lot of question marks going on there. And that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next episode. We might have a special guest, you Predators fans out there. So if you are a Predators fan, or if you know Predators fans, maybe you might want to get them to listen to our next episode. We're going to have a nice special guest, hopefully. And, of course, we will do some more Team ISOs and probably have some injury updates from Paul. I'm sad, Paul. You know what happened?
What happened?
I wore my Ekblad jersey on Saturday.
And he got hurt.
And he got concussed again for the 3rd time. Oh, man. Hopefully it's not too bad. Right now they're saying it's 7 to 10 days, but Paul will have some more injury updates for your next episode, and maybe even a fantasy tip for the playoffs. So stay tuned for our next episode, and see you then. And again, check out jablamhockey.com. We're going to have our new blog on there, and maybe a few other ones. And even check our episodes out there, and even go on iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review us. See you later.
Bye.